Greetings, Flesh Wound Horror freaks, and welcome to Flesh Wound Horror Live. I'm Flesh Wound Dan. That there's producer Tad.
Good evening.
Pugs Dread.
Namaste.
And Mike Kruger.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
So tonight we are here to talk Sharksploitation, which just recently debuted on Shudder, new documentary about the Sharksploitation genre in the great wake that was Jaws. So, yeah, excited to talk about this. We'll talk a little bit about the doc, a little bit about some of our favorite shark movies, our favorite Sharksploitation.
Which includes other animals.
So,
correct.
Yes, it does.
I've always separated those with Sharksploitation and Jawsploitation, but for the purpose, they're all just one tonight.
Yeah.
No, you nerd.
Well, I mean,
no, I get it.
Shark's in the title. The other, you could rip off Jaws and not be a shark.
No, I'm with you on that. There's like movies that are technically Jawsploitation, and they work as just animal attacks films later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get into it, though, I got to ask, because it's not necessarily Jaws for everybody. What was your first shark movie that really just got you into this
That's not Jaws?
genre?
I mean, Jaws,
well, no, if Jaws was your first, Jaws was your first, but it's not everybody's first.
I feel like Jaws was definitely a fucking mainstay in my childhood because just my dad really loved that movie. But it wasn't until later on. Probably Deep Blue Sea was like the only other shark movie for a very long time that I had appreciated. And honestly, still to this day, probably one of the only shark movies I really appreciate. But Jaws was definitely my intro into everything. And that was probably my first shark movie.
Fuck yeah. I would say Jaws for sure, but like I do love sharks. I'm actually like scared of sharks. I would say like I have that.
Are you still after this documentary? They're trying to.
Well, those guys. Yeah, it's not going to eat me, but it'll still bite my fucking ass. So yeah. Also, I don't agree with the term shark infested waters. That's where they live.
Right.
You're infesting their home.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But other sharks like I really enjoyed Bait 3D, the one where they're
that was
flood in the
underrated.
thing. Yeah, and then also me being the nerd I am, fucking Street Sharks. Come on,
Street Sharks was pretty bad.
Awesome.
I can unfortunately no longer reference the Flesh Wound created shark that used to infest our waters.
Struggle, snuggle, shark.
What was your first?
He's just
shark,
Mr. Shark now. Well, what's yours? Why do you go? Then I'll go.
Oh, sure.
Is Mr. Shark going to make an appearance?
I couldn't find him. He's off in the sea.
He's with the Todd Barbie and incarcerated.
Jaws was an early one, if not the first. But a really, really early one that was around the same time that is talked about in this movie is Mako, the Jaws of Death, the William Greffy film. I remember seeing that really early on as well. So that was
later, dude. That was late for me.
Yeah, in my head, those are like some of the earliest ones that I can think of. And Jaws, of course, I mean, how do you not? I mean, Peter Bentley's book was one of the first like horror books I read.
Did you like the book?
Oh yeah, I like the book.
Because I haven't read it, but one of my buddies, this blew my mind when he said it. He's like, I don't know how that boring piece of shit made this awesome movie. And now I've never read it, so I can't.
I read it when I was in middle school, I believe, and I do remember liking it, but I do also just remember being that guy that was just like, yeah, the movie's way better.
Okay.
Well, it's one of those cases where it's not controversial to say that because, I mean, Jaws is considered one of the great movies of all time. So, and I think it is a perfect film. We've talked about this before. Jaws is something that all these years later, you know, you look at it and it's like, man, this hasn't lost anything.
No, I saw it. Was it 3 times last summer in 3D?
Yeah, there's
I'm annoyed I can't watch it this year.
No,
And
me
it's-
too. Me too. Honestly, I was kind of hoping like they would just release it in 3D for fucking
Every year.
But
That would be
you'll have
Yeah.
a chance for sure.
no,
See it
I
on
know
the
they will
water.
again, but
I want to
See
do
it
that
on the
too.
water.
yeah, that's a big thing that they do in Vegas, I believe.
They're in a few places.
They do
All
that here
over,
too.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do that.
There's a lake. Yeah, that
You
they
can
do.
rent even a little boat too. You can like
It's like
I think-
$350. It's like, eh.
yeah.
I think they do it on Lake Lanier out here. I
But
believe.
now they do that and in 3D. Holy shit! Off the water. But mine, okay. Really,
Yeah.
you should just know. I bring it up every chance.
I mean,
get.
Jaws is usually just about everybody's first over a certain age, but
But
you know, what's
mine is
it?
very specific. But what is mine? What do you think? I talk about it all the time. This
I
would be
believe
very
it's
easy.
Jaws 3D, isn't it?
That is it. My first shark movie, my first 3D movie. I was 6 years old. Remember seeing that movie very distinctly in 3D.
I have
I-
a very, very soft spot for that film as well. Just picking it up from Blockbuster.
Dude, the one dude that fucking took a shit on the fish head floating, that shit traumatized me. That was almost as traumatic as the orca fetus for me when I was like preschool.
Oh,
And
dude! Oh, man, yeah.
orca's better for me.
We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah.
But everything they nailed about like why I love that movie is talked about in this. It is like the first Sharksploitation movie of the series. It's like for me, it's like my Friday the 13th 5. I like the oddballs of the series,
Mhm.
as evident because I'm the only one here who actually enjoyed Halloween Ends. But it's always that weird oddball one that jumps out to me that I end up really clinging on to. So Halloween 6 is another example.
Yeah,
I'll give you
I-
6 over ends.
That's why I went to what you guys would agree with a little better.
I liked that this doc doesn't just it's not just a rundown of Jaws, because we all knew about Jaws.
Yeah.
It really does focus more on the wake of Jaws, just what this inspired. That classic quote, Cujo didn't stop people from buying dogs, but Jaws kept people off the beach and out of the water. It definitely did. I mean, we even see some old footage right after the movie came out where, I mean, this movie traumatized people. A lot of times that stuff about people fainting in a theater and everything is kind of, jazzed up a little bit to sell tickets, but this was very true. I mean, this is a movie that I don't believe my mom has ever watched it, but
Really?
she was aware of it. I think I told this story recently. My mom saw 2 horror movies back in the day: Play Misty for Me and Rosemary's Baby. And
Okay.
Play Misty for Me was a date movie when my dad was in the Navy, and that she couldn't take it, so she didn't watch anything even remotely
With your dad,
horror.
or when your dad was
No, with him. It was
okay. Well, your wording, I was just making sure
It
you
was
weren't like
a
breaking
short-
news.
No. It was like a shore leave thing. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it traumatized her, so she never watched Jaws. And yeah, I mean, it is a perfect movie, and I really liked because it changed movies. Period. And I like that they still have Roger Corman, who feels like he hasn't fucking aged. It's amazing,
Dude, seeing that
he-
motherfucker there, and he's like, I
in his
don't know when they,
90s.
yeah, I don't know when they filmed this, but as of right now, Roger Corman's fucking 90 goddamn 3 years old, and just
Yeah.
seeing a guy that old in the horror genre that still like looks like he's fairly healthy.
No, he looks the same as he did in interviews like 30 years ago.
It
And
just it makes
He's
me
done what he
so
loves
He-
his entire life. That's why he looks like that.
yeah, and he knew when Jaws came out that he said similar things about Star Wars too, but he knew, like, okay, the party's over. Not that it was really over, because he still made a lot
No,
of
they're
great
onto
movies
us.
after Jaws.
I know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, I don't know if it was People or the New York Times said Jaws was a big budget Roger Corman film, but Corman admitted, like, no, it's better, and he knew he'd have to step up his game, which is just
Well, and he-
for me. amazing how he
Oh, yeah.
predicted trends. in
Ben
Hollywood.
Grimm, he said he liked when the sci-fi dude threatened to give it to Asylum, and he's like, "Well, hold on."
Well, and what cracks me up about just Roger Corman in general is that, like, you know, he kind of predates the Jaws fucking, you know,
By a
the
lot,
whole,
yeah.
the whole hype behind it, because he was making fucking shark movies like what, 6 years beforehand.
Well, he did one of my all-time favorites, Attack of the Crab Monsters, and yeah, I mean, it's weird because sometimes when I hear him even say that, because he said it in several interviews, it kind of hurts a little bit because I'm like, don't discount what you did. Like, I mean, my God, like the movie memories that Roger Corman is attached to, and not just him, just some of the people that he brought in that we wouldn't have is amazing. I mean, Jack fucking Nicholson, you know, you name them, they went through Corman. And yeah, I really liked seeing him on this doc. Of course, Joe Dante, because Piranha was one of the more successful. Although that film is very different, and I've never been a huge fan of the original Piranha. I like it, but it's one of those, like, it's never been as big of a deal to me kind of movies.
That's blasphemy in my fucking eyes, Dan.
It's a good film. It's not a great film. Good film, not a great film. I've never loved.
I'm a remake over the OG one.
See, I can't go that far. Like, I think they're like on the same level, but I love me some old school.
Piranha's awesome, dude.
Piranha, dude.
Yeah,
well, here's my thing with Piranha, and we can go back to this later or whatever. But with Piranha, the little creature effect that they had, where the guy, you know, it's like this humanoid piranha creature fucking walking across the screen. It reminds me of almost like the Ymir in 20 or 100,000 miles from Earth. The
20,000 miles from Earth.
20,000 miles from Earth. The I'm going brain dead right now on my stop motion fucking aficionados.
Ray Harryhausen.
Thank you. It reminds me a lot of that character, which is, like, when I see that little creature walk across the screen, which like holds a nostalgic feel to me, because I think I saw 20,000 miles from Earth beforehand. I watched Piranha later on.
I think you mean Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
No. I'm
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
No. Fucking 100 million miles from Earth is probably what it's actually called. It's the Ray Harryhausen kaiju film with the fucking humanoid reptilian creature that fights the elephant. It brings me back to that, watching that for the first time, because like I said, as a little kid, I watched Piranha shortly after.
Was 20 million miles to Earth your like cherry popper for Harryhausen? Was that the first
one? I think my cherry popper for Harryhausen was Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, can't go wrong with any.
Yeah, no, that's like literally like probably his best movie. But
yeah, you said 20,000. I was like, wait, are you thinking?
No, I can't remember what the fuck his number was, but it was something million miles from Earth, and it was about
20 million miles to Earth.
Yeah,
and it was about a reptilian creature being brought down from like a UFO or some shit, and then it first starts off as a small creature like what we see in Piranha. And then eventually it builds to a big creature, fights with humans, and then it gets bigger and fights with the elephant. And then at the end of the movie, they fucking explode it with all the military arsenal that they can, which is like literally one of my favorite. Whatever the fuck is it? 100 million miles, 20 million miles.
20 million miles Earth. Yeah.
Is it 20 million?
Yeah,
20
20
million
million
miles.
miles.
Okay, so
Earth.
20 million miles.
Yeah,
That's
when
like,
you said 20,000, I was like, wait, which one are you thinking?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what was
yeah.
throwing it off.
no, it's the beast from 1,000 fathoms or whatever.
20,000 fathoms.
Yeah, that gets me mixed up. But
all the numbers, too many numbers.
yeah,
I
too
know
many
one-
numbers.
Dan knows how to
fucking
keep
right
track of them.
I know 1 million BC.
Yeah, no,
That's the one I
there's a-
remember.
There's like fucking like 4 or 5 movies. This motherfucker just put like, oh, this 1,000, this 1,000, this 1,000. But yeah, no, watching Piranha, it just it works very well with that movie, and as a kid, it just made me really like link to it very, very hard. And just in general, any under the sea movie, I kind of just really like anything that involves
Little Mermaid.
aquatic creatures. It's one movie they didn't talk about in the doc that I was kind of disappointed about. Was it called Monster Shark or some shit? It was an Italian film. It was about an octopus monster that was like bred with a shark or some shit.
They left out. You were talking earlier, like Bait. I don't think there was any clips from Bait. Oddly enough, which
It was in the timeline. Oh, I think they did actually. It was, I think, the parking lot scene. It's like real fast.
That's like the
Okay.
I think so.
Is that the mid 2000s movie?
Was it mid or late? I think it was late.
2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Right around there.
But yeah, your monster shark or devilfish is what
Devilfish.
you're thinking of, Kruger, the Umberto Bava film.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't bring that up because that's like one of my favorite Jaws ripoffs.
Devilfish, yeah, no, Umberto Bava's awesome. That's a fun movie. I figured Cruel Jaws, because Cruel Jaws has gotten a huge fan base lately. That movie's just really grown, especially since it's come out on Blu-ray. So I figured they'd spend a lot of time. And you have to, I mean, this is very Sci-Fi Channel focused. And I love that they give you some insight into the process of how Sci-Fi Channel makes their movies. And by extension,
awesome.
Asylum.
And it's exactly what we thought.
yeah, just kind of that old school, like canon, like, okay,
we got a
here
name.
we go. We kind of got a basic premise, so now hammer it out fast.
Premise, Dan, they had a name first.
Yeah, just to get basic gimmick.
And then the premise.
Let's do it. I think I was talking to Ben on Discord. The Santa Jaws director is in fact very hot, which I thought was cool. Because Santa Jaws has also sort of become a bit of a favorite for a lot of people recently. The Christmas Shark movie.
Go Shark!
I have not given it. Yeah, I have not given Santa Jaws a shot yet, but maybe I will.
We're not doing the whole Christmas gimmick this year. I don't think so. Let's do that one.
I think they also do. They talk about Nightmare Shark, which is also the Nightmare on Elm Street Shark.
I'm so interested in that.
You've never seen, I'll be honest. Watching this
dial
again,
it back.
watching, I know. Yeah. Watching this again made me want to watch some of those, a couple of those that we just mentioned.
Bait. Let's do it.
Nightmare Shark Bait.
Keep your expectations realistic, though, Kruger. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, but
fair enough.
Santa Jaws is my favorite Christmas shark movie, right over Jaws.
Over Jaws 4.
That's available on a multi-shark set.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Jaws 4. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they're a good double feature.
You
can get Santa Jaws. You can get Santa Jaws on a multi movie DVD. Yeah.
Asylum?
Yeah, I can grab it, I suppose, and I won't fish for it.
Hey Todd, keep that
but it is
question from Ben Grimm.
I've already got it. Yeah, I'm trying not to lose.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're jumping a little bit ahead, but this also runs down the pre-Jaws shark movies, which there was a lot of treasure hunter movies were kind of like the early theme for sharks before Of course, Jaws changed everything. So I really like that. I was like, I hope they don't just skip to the Sci-Fi Channel wacky shark movies. I hope they kind of go back to some of the early stuff, and they do. They talk Sea Bat from 1930, the Killer Manta Ray movie, Taboo, She Gods of Shark Reef from the 50s. I like that they don't go super in depth on those, but I do think it's cool that they
acknowledged them.
The history beforehand. And this also dives into the shark mythology, the Hawaiian Nanaue legend.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
There you go.
The big thing was it wasn't just like a clip show. It didn't feel like something that just was, and In Search of Darkness. It felt like a true documentary, not just like
it all ties
a countdown almost. Like those feel more like a countdown.
I like this a lot more than In Search of Darkness. And I know people love those docs, but those, like, I never really feel like I get a lot that
They're like a countdown show. If you watch them like that, I used to like watching those. Like Bravo used to do the horror countdown. It's kind of like that.
I still like those.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're going in for like an in-depth documentary, you're not going to get it. Although I do think the third one is the best one. But
you get it here.
One.
Yeah.
Because they could have done this 4 hours like they do. I'm glad they didn't, and it's a nicely paced doc, and it really covers everything you should. But could they have expanded it to 4 and added a lot more? Yeah, but you don't need to.
No, I think this will please everybody, and they also go over just sharks in movies in general. I'm sure Pugs, you popped for the Batman movie with the shark latching onto his leg. I remember that.
We got Jumping the Shark.
Yeah, Fonzie. That fucking took on a life of its own. Now everything is fucking. Once it sucks, it jumps the shark.
But see, the thing about that is the idiom is not 100% accurate. The show was still successful for quite a few years after that.
But it took the cheesy turn.
But
so the term has evolved. But
no, it has. That is the origin. But like, people didn't like. It was just. It didn't even bother him at the time.
I wish I were an executive back then and just gone like, I got an idea. Let's just fucking kill him. Let's just kill him.
That was brought up at the table.
Fucking, he's wearing his leather jacket.
Hear me out. See Fonzie jump over, and then this is sharp.
Well, the only thing that's left is his hand floats up to the beach. The thumbs up.
Come on, they could have gave us that in Piranha. We got our Richard Dreyfuss camera.
Fuck, we should have. That was dude.
Dan, I'm gonna do you a solid.
Wait a minute. Richie kills the shark at the end, gets revenge, and then he kind of just like does the punch he did to the drink machine, and Fozzie's head comes out of the shark.
I'm gonna be a solid this year. Dan, I'm gonna wait to watch my annual Piranha and Jaws 3D viewing so you're here.
Oh, sweet.
I'm in 3D. So
are you gonna add bait to that?
We can do a triple.
I will be there for bait.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in 3D. That movie's really good.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love what they ran down. I really was impressed with this one. I really, really was. Because again, I wasn't into some of the recent stuff that they did as much, and this kind of gave me everything that I could possibly want, and it didn't overly spend too much time on Jaws, which was cool.
But you can't.
It was a touchstone throughout the whole fucking thing, though.
Sure, but they don't I don't need to hear the stories on set of Jaws. I like that they just gave you just enough, to recognize it, but not rehash shit you've heard a million times. And I love the merch portion though with Jaws.
The game. Oh my god.
The Jaws game, Mr. Jaws parody song, like everything that they had back then. I mean,
Land Shark, if you guys saw in this documentary, has always been what I envisioned for Mr. Shark. That's the style I've always.
Yeah, you had Sand Sharks with Brooke Hogan, I believe, was in that one. She was also in Two-Headed Shark.
The only thing I know about that was they used to play the clip of it on the Soup, and all the time. A lot of those Asylum Shark movies ended up on there. But I know Dan's trying to get away from Jaws. But I
remember vividly. I think they called him Monster. You guys would know who the guy's name is. Monster Man, Cleve.
Oh yeah,
Cleve Hall. Cleve Hall, yeah.
Yeah, I vividly remember them doing the effects on Six-Headed Shark Attack on
the show. Yeah,
yeah.
I love that show. That show was so fucking cool.
I know. I wish we would have
It
got
was
more
great.
than one season.
Dude, that and Making Monsters. Like, I'm set for the fucking day. I'll watch a marathon of that shit right now. Constance, what up?
Oh yeah. Twisted.
Easy. I'm familiar with her.
I'm sure you are, Dan or Pugs.
Twisted Nightmare is like a lesser known slasher movie that Cleve was part of that I always kind of liked. But
Wasn't he in that one movie we reviewed a few years ago back? The weird Lovecraft sex
Halfway House.
Yes.
Yeah. Rest in peace. He's a legend. But yeah, they do a pretty good job. Like I said, there are definitely like some shark movies that you could say like, oh, you should have given it a little bit more. Shallows was another. I didn't think they spent any real time.
I spent enough on it.
I really like that movie.
I did too, but I mean, what are they really going to say? Like, it's
but the final act, man, is so good. Like that shark fucking on that shit. Oh, so good.
You know,
47.
Yeah,
they did have a little bit of 47, but I was surprised that they didn't talk about what they did with Unchained or whatever the fuck the other 47 Meters Down movie was.
Yeah, they had the director. They didn't really focus on his movies, but the director did talk.
But I argue that the sequel is better than the first film, in my opinion, at least. Just because you bring in albino blind sharks into the fucking gimmick, and it's just like, all right, I can play. I like when the sharks are a little bit fucked up. You know what I mean? They're a little weird.
So when the Jaws is Two-Face, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Todd?
Yeah. Any fans of Tintorera?
Yes.
That was kind of like,
I have yet to see it.
You know who loves it? This might hurry up. Chasen. He was bugging me.
Yeah.
He was so happy when I got him a copy.
Yeah, kind of.
Tintorera.
Yeah, it's a shark movie, but kind of like very heavier on the sexploitation.
Chasen's so weird. I love that man.
He might go down in the shark cage with me because that's going to be happening.
Of course,
I'm sure he's already
that
done it.
Motherfucker. Did you see what he was doing in Hawaii or Florida? Where the fuck that asshole was?
What did he do?
Drunk fishing.
Oh, that's right.
He's like one like I
How's he
love
alive?
Jason, but I don't think I would want to drive or do anything.
Okay, hey. No. No.
Yes. Party.
You know what? One thing I thought was missing from this topic of discussion in this whole thing
in the doc.
Yes, that it was never brought up that Jaws was snubbed for an Oscar. Not brought up once, but I do have someone who will speak on it.
I have something to say. I have a lot to say. First of all, being in these are my spokesmen. First of all, being in the first Godfather, I have this to say. The Godfather was nominated for the Best Picture and won, but the director, Bob Fosse of Cabaret, won. That's bullshit. You cannot have the Best Picture unless the director is also nominated. Who made the picture? Somebody's mother? The director. This man made yours. Are you kidding? Who's kidding who around here?
That is a fantastic.
The shark didn't direct the goddamn movie.
Who directed the fucking movie? The Shack? I had to work it in somewhere.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Joe was like 7 or 8 drinks deep right there.
Funny thing is,
so you just woke up?
If I would have let the clip play longer, it also shows up. I forget the actor's name, but he also appeared in XPW TV as Rocco and Jocko's uncle.
Oh yeah.
So we got a Rob Black connection to Joe Spinell.
Oh yeah, and the pop culture too, like you said, Land Shark, the Caddyshack Baby Ruth.
We got a Sharkula shot.
When I saw Mark Polonia, I was like, okay, maybe Sharksploitation needs to die. Yeah, not big on those, but they did break it down pretty well. You know, you have your big budget like Hollywood shark films, the mid-tier kind of sci-fi channel stuff, and then you have the the bottom tier, which is like 90% Mark Polonia at this point. Yeah, those are a little rough, but
he still keeps getting them kickstarted. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean,
fucking Cocaine Shark, right?
Yeah.
Last one. Yeah. Sharkula is bad. Like, whoo, God.
Yeah,
it's
Cocaine Shark.
Like legitimately is happening at the moment. Like there's some drugs that fell off a boat and the sharks got into it. Fucking rad.
I assume it would just fucking kill him. I don't know if you would get like a big high or if they would just like basically like.
Well, in real life, who cares? I want to see what it does on the screen. Dude.
I mean, you have to think about this: the amount of cocaine that it would be to kill a shark. I mean, a shark is what, a couple 1,000 pounds? It's a lot of cocaine, sir.
That's true. Was our friend accounted for at that time? I don't
Did
know.
Troma do a shark movie? Ben, I am offended you've asked this. They proudly put out Sam Fuller's Shark starring Burt Reynolds.
The shark on the stash also?
Which is also why in Terror Firmer there's a lengthy discussion about Sam Fuller's Shark and Jaws and Troma's Shark.
Did you guys pop for just how shameless they were back then? It's like, oh, Stuntman's dead. We're going to use it to promote the movie.
I hate to be that asshole, but that made me want to watch the movie so much more.
but yeah, no, I that part, I was like, God damn, they marketed that like a stuntman died to make money.
And real talk, I felt bad for the sharks.
You know, they kill them on screen.
Like,
a lot of that stuff.
Well, no, I feel bad for sharks in general after Jaws. You know, the amount of shark hunting competitions and everything that followed that is really gross to me. Just like, I don't know. I have a lot of fucked up opinions, but when it comes to animals themselves, I feel very bad that we're just coming in there and fucking harpooning the fuck out of all these sharks.
They killed a lot of them after Jaws, which they do go after. Yeah.
And it's just kind of sad, in my opinion. I know Eli Roth, actually. He's a big advocate when it comes to saving the sharks. And I think he actually came out with a documentary about them not that long ago. Yeah, he's like one of those guys.
He finally got something greenlit.
Hey, I will
him.
not hold fucking Eli Roth blasphemy in my fucking goddamn
Am I getting
podcast.
your blood pressure up now too?
A little bit.
You know, he gets so much, and we just don't get it. It's annoying. If Thanksgiving gets canceled, that's going to be a whole fucking day.
If Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving, whatever the fuck that movie is called, gets canceled, there's going to be some bad things going to happen. That's all I'm going to say.
Ron Perlman's words will come true.
I think you're okay. But yeah, I mean, Shark's Treasure was one of the big offenders, killing real sharks, which you can just see watching the trailer for that one. Yeah, I mean, they also go over like Grizzly and the car and stuff that, you know, it wasn't a shark, but definitely.
They didn't mention Duel, though, but that's the same thing.
Duel was before.
It was, but it still is that. Well,
it should have been mentioned.
It is because, I mean, he took that template and made Jaws off the same template. So no matter what that movie is beholden to, it's connected. That you can't. It's part of the puzzle for Sharksploitation. I agree. I thought it was funny they mentioned the car, but didn't mention it at all. I mean, even in passing, you know.
I'm sure they're trying to get it to a certain length. Like, they didn't spend a ton of time on Orca, which is arguably certainly
the best.
Well, it's also it's another big event movie too. You know, that wasn't the low budget one. But Orca is so fucking entertaining.
Absolutely.
I mean, my
reference our Animal Attack show that we did fucking way back when I first started the podcast. I think we did what? We did Orca. We did we did Grizzly and then 2 others.
Yeah, go back and check those out. I think we reviewed all of those.
I fucking love Orca though, dude. Shit's awesome.
Me too.
And they also talk, of course, the white whale in this genre, Last Shark, aka Great White, that was the one that just got sued into oblivion. And they were shameless there with these because, like, Cruel Jaws steals footage from Jaws 1 through 3 and The Last Shark, which was the movie that got sued.
Which is funny.
Cruel Jaws is like the ultimate, like, we give no fucks movie.
Yet it's legally available out here thanks to Severed. How did
I grabbed that so fucking fast because I was like,
I know I got a Jaws 5 cover, which is funny.
yeah, Cruel Jaws is the shit. I love that movie. And also one really obscure one, A-Tank, the Bollywood Jaws.
I haven't seen that. I would like to.
Singing while being eaten by the shark, which is hilarious. And one story that a lot of people, I guess it blew a lot of people's minds that hadn't heard it, but the unmade Jaws 3 People Zero.
Yeah.
Joe
His
Dante.
name still fucking rules.
Yeah, it was going to be a parody co-production with Universal and National Lampoons. And it was just a case National Lampoon was super popular at that point, and they wanted an R-rated comedy, and the studio wanted something safer, blander. And I think Spielberg bitched, so it just didn't happen. But
and Todd only got one of his favorite movies, though. So it worked out.
I am curious what that movie would have been, but I'm glad we went with just fuck it. We're doing exploitation. Jaws at SeaWorld, done.
I don't blame you on that.
But the fact that they put over how much 4 is a slasher now, I want to revisit it and go in with that mentality.
Yeah, me too.
But they also said Juice is a slasher, and they're fucking wrong, so whatever.
I literally almost went to go see Juice in theaters because of that.
Well, you should, but that's not related.
Todd, should I though? Should I?
God, Juice
I don't think
is
you
so
need
good.
to. I don't think you need to go to the theater for it,
Yeah, you
but
can watch
you
it.
should definitely watch it. It's good.
Juice is so good.
Fuck, I haven't seen that in forever.
I watch it all the time. I want to watch it now.
Yeah.
our friend Jay would not go down in the shark cage.
I would not either. Jay will hang up top.
You're pretty
Sharks are the one. Okay, sharks are one of the only things that genuinely scare me, thanks to Jaws and its sequels.
There you go.
Do we
I'll
want
I
tell
don't
you.
blame you.
If I go down in the shark cage, which I do plan to do, that's 100% going to happen. I am going to, you can blur it on YouTube, but I'm definitely going to
Take your
take
dick
a
out?
selfie with
You're
my dick
the-
out.
he's gonna stick his cock right through the fucking holes.
I didn't say that. I just said I will, at a safe distance, with the shark in frame. It's going to happen. And I'm going to blow it
You're
up
gonna
to a
whip your
giant...
dick out.
Yeah.
Hold on,
How legendary is that?
Actually, I'm with him on this.
I'm not
You're
dangling it for the shark
sexually
to eat.
exploited animal on.
I'm taking a photo. I'm not touching I'm not fucking the shark.
How do you think the shark feels about looking at your fucking weird cock?
Shark's not gonna care. I'm at number one. I'm turned this way. Shark's gonna have hopefully just
So you're gonna be sitting in the corner like.
This you're making this sexual. I'm just gonna have my dick out and free.
I
And
hope
it-
the shark fucking nuzzles its nose right through the fucking thing and just snips that
See,
shit.
I want to leave the shark alone. Just hope the fucking chain breaks.
I mean, my
Thank
back would be.
Dan's over here trying to fucking get head from a shark and shit.
Well, thankfully, Ben put this question up again because I was looking for it right now and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
What subgenre would you? Fuck, I can't see because
What
Want them to do
subgenre
it.
would you want them to do a doc on next?
In my opinion,
wait. Ben did point out they never mentioned Dick Shark. This is true, and they should have.
No
What the
bills
fuck?
above.
what the fuck is Dick Shark?
Dick Shark. Aaron Brown. You don't know Dick Shark?
That's why he's asking, Dan.
Well, now you got
Shark
one on
Show.
the list. Dick Shark.
Dan, you
Yeah.
keep your dick in your pants though in that episode.
So
Shark's
my
no
answer
shark.
for Ben is really easy. Women in prison.
For me, just animal attacks in general, I think would be a very interesting documentary because we've had such a fucking I don't even want to say renaissance because that would mean it's a good thing. But we've had a ton of them over the last, 20 years, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I want Todd to go first because I think we might be on the same page on this one.
All right, real quick, and Dan, we're going to come back to you because that's not really what a Shudder doc would focus on. That's a little bit out of the wheel.
Well, it has to be for Shudder. I was in general.
He said in general. He didn't specify.
Okay, well,
Shudder,
I don't think it says anywhere in general. But I was just trying
to
to
work. There's definitely horror elements.
Well, he did in the first one, or maybe he didn't. Okay.
Some of those Ilsa films. I mean, there's definitely horror elements to a lot of that. Yeah.
Mine would be obviously YouTube-friendly way of saying this.
Struggle, snuggle, revenge films.
Yeah, because there is a serious conversation of why these movies exist and why we like them.
You can get a feature like
well, I mean, even growing up with I Spit on Your Grave, I think did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
Just describing on why these movies are very, very fucking important to people. So no matter if you're fucking Mr. Sideline on your fucking keyboard on fucking Twitter bitching about the fact that these movies exist, guess what, motherfucker? There's a lot of people that actually went through this shit that could find it therapeutic. That really I resonate with that documentary a lot. So I'm with you on that, and just a big wide spectrum of why that genre is a thing, why it's important, and going throughout everything from the 70s on, I think would be great. I'd also just like to see a straight up slasher doc. I don't think we have one out there that covers everything when it comes to when slashers began to when they ended, or not even when they ended, but just to now.
That one, Red, White, and Blood, or
there have been a few. There has.
What's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
It's not
England's on it.
But there's a lot of movies within the last, what am I going to say, 15 years to be safe, that are very much slasher films that should be talked about on there. For example,
you could do
that. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean the Terrifier films, Sweatshop, the Hatchet movies. I feel like none of those have been really showcased in a documentary, and I think people should view them as important as at least I do. Because
I think In Search of Darkness style for that would work. Because
the countdown.
The early history's been covered, but you could kind of do an In Search of Darkness focus specifically on.
I also want that with the Struggle Snuggle show, because that also just gives me a list of movies to make sure I've seen everything.
There you go. But yeah, Women in Prison would be.
And then I can bitch about the modern ones.
Ben mentions doll movies, which also you could kind of go way back to the beginning of that. You could get a feature out of that. Without just being, like I said, In Search of Darkness isn't my favorite format, but
what was that doc not doc, but the anthology we watched when it was a guy and his ventriloquist puppet or whatever the fuck.
Dead of Night. We did.
It was probably that.
Magic. I think. Well, Magic might have been before you were.
Killer Dolls would be cool. Is there a definitive zombie doc out there?
It's been covered in different things. It wouldn't be my first pick. I'd rather. I don't know. I kind of like.
He's asking if there is one, and there's a couple. I think
a big one for me too. A cryptid horror doc.
Yeah. One out of the genre, since Stan kind of picked one that borderlines. I still, and this doesn't care where it is, who does it. Russ Meyer needs his documentary.
Does he not have a couple? Wow, that's fucking. Oh wow, I was gonna use the hard R, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, you can do it pretty much for everything, but yeah. I mean, Dolls would easily sell to Shudder because, I mean, Dead of Night.
I'm shocked we don't have one yet.
Yeah, I mean, Dead of Night, 1945. I mean, my God, that tradition goes back so far. You know, like, and it off really hasn't been. You could argue not done even nearly as good as in Dead of Night. I mean, Hugo, tough to top it. I mean, there's just something timeless about that. We did that not last time, but I think we did that for a Slash Miss a couple times ago. I love that movie, but yeah, no, there's a lot. And yeah, I think this was a really good pick. I think it gives you a good mix. It kind of covers that period where we didn't get a lot of them for a while. Then Deep Blue Sea, it goes into the Sci-Fi Channel boom, which you needed to spend a lot of time on that. I'm glad they didn't gloss over it because we're at a point where some of these fucking Sci-Fi Channel originals are 20 plus years old. You know, like these things, like people grew up on some of these movies and they don't get that historical love like a lot of films do. I'm like, it's been a long time since some of these came out, and I am so fucking glad that they covered the line in Shark Attack 3.
Yes.
I knew you would.
I remember watching that and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like a blooper. And you could tell like she was just laughing. She wasn't in character.
Right.
But yeah. What do you say? I take you home and eat your pussy. And it doesn't fit. If you've ever watched that film, it's totally out of the blue. Like the character really would not just say that.
And in real life, Homeboy is homosexual, so that's even funnier for me. I don't know about you guys.
And canceled,
You know,
I
it's one
believe.
thing
He
that
got
did
in
this.
trouble.
One thing that did disappoint me a little bit though, didn't bring up Hammerhead, didn't bring up Bull Shark. Those were two sci-fi big movies.
They did as Sharkman, though, I believe. I think one of the alt titles for.
Hold up. Also, how the fuck did they not show that goddamn Stan Winston thing, the creature?
The Peter Benchley one?
With Coach.
The
creature.
the miniseries
Okay,
about fucking the shark person.
Kim
like-
Cattrall and Craig T. Nelson.
That
Tracy
was
Nelson, Jesus.
I felt like at least me being a little kid, that was a big fucking deal back in the day.
I remember watching that, and The Beast was the other miniseries.
Yeah.
Those were Creatures, definitely one of those ones. Like a lot of people's issue that watched it later and didn't realize like this was meant to be like a 2-night thing. Think it drags, but it's like, yeah, but you remember the format that it initially aired. Like you kind of needed to split that up a little bit, but yeah, no, they didn't give that love to that. It's hard. The movie's under 2 hours. You can't get everything in, but I think they told the story pretty well.
They did.
No,
I would be down for a Blu-ray that has extra stuff for sure. And
I thought it was cool. They kind of capped it off with like the Meg, because like that's currently the big one, and with the Meg 2 coming out pretty fucking soon, which I'm all in.
Yeah.
No, 3D.
I haven't even seen
4DX, man. That's what I mean. What? Really? Dude, you gotta. And watch out for that dog's name. That's also an Easter egg from Jaws.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the way they closed it too, because look, Sharknado, one of the biggest B movies of all time in terms of popularity. You know, there's Sharknado merch
for sure.
Yeah,
I got a pop, not on the other side of this fucking thing.
I do like that they Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, because I was like, Sharknado did blow up, but like that kind of started that was a precursor to like the viral trend when the shark jumped.
It helped open the door.
Yeah. I'm glad they kind of gave that a little bit of love too, but yeah, and then it basically kind of ends on Peter Benchley's turnaround on shark preservation, and we get a lot of interviews with biologists and different things in here. Yeah, his wife. And I think it had a nice end. I was very happy with this doc, and I highly recommend it.
I agree. It's a great doc, and almost, I will say in quotations, almost everything you want to know about shark movies. If they would have included the creature, I would have been a little bit more
Creature's good.
But that's like one movie from my childhood. I'm just like, dude, it's a shark man. Come on.
They did include Ghost Shark, though, the greatest Sci-Fi Channel shark movie ever.
Now you built it up for Kruger. Now.
Sharknado 2 is my greatest sci-fi, but Ghost Shark's right underneath it.
Ghost Shark is
fucking love it.
Dan's lying. His actual answer is Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys is the best sci-fi movie.
You get to see Cool Duder get eaten in Ghost Shark. So
Dan just wants to watch him get eaten all night long. On that note, we should probably rate this and get out of here, Dan.
Let's rate it 5 stars. It gives you just about everything you could want, and
Yeah, fuck it. I'm 5 too.
Right, 5 stars. Yeah. I'm definitely watching this again. I'm recommending it.
I'll get the physical Blu-ray.
You know what?
I think we just named that doc where I was pitching.
Right. You know what fucking sucks though, and this is just a side note that really pissed me off. I was sitting there and I was like, I'm a fucking log every single one of these goddamn movies. And then my app crashed on fucking Letterboxd. In the midst of it, I got like about half of them. I'm like, fuck, I need to watch this whole thing again now.
That's not that bad of a thing. But yeah, that is frustrating. But watching it again will be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
absolutely. I wouldn't mind sitting down and watching it again on Blu-ray. So
yeah, no, for sure.
All right, guys.
It's one of those ones where I will pick it up on Blu-ray just to have it in my little horror documentary section on my shelf. So,
yeah, and I don't get the In Search of Darkness stuff. I don't get every doc because some I would never rewatch. This I would go back and check out again. Well, guys, thanks for listening. And thanks for being patrons. Be sure. Once again, if you're listening to this later, patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures.
You could have already seen this.
Could have already seen it. Uncut Glory. Because sometimes when you don't watch live, you miss some naughty stuff. So
I'm cutting a couple
things. And tune into all the shows. We'll be live, of course, once again Wednesday night for Flesh Wound Horror Live, and maybe Santa Jaws. Maybe that commentary will come because I really want to watch it again for Christmas.
Cool. All right. That's GTFO. Mr. Dan.
Good night, guys. Stay out of the water.
Mr. Todd.
Good evening.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'll see you in Disneyland.